All right, hey everyone, here with Karsyn Norman, star point guard for the Butler Bulldogs, coming off a great freshman year, leading her team to the NIT. We're thankful to have her today to talk about some nutrition and hopefully give some insight to how she fuels herself as a Division One athlete. So, Karsyn, thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
Great. I'm ready to talk about nutrition.
Awesome, good stuff. So we'll start off the conversation just doing some quick hitters. You got about 10 questions or so, almost like Family Feud style. So we'll kind of go through them. Just give me the first thing that kind of pops into your head. This isn't meant to be like a long answer question. We'll kind of go through that, and then we'll kind of get into some of the nitty gritty as far as how you feel yourself as a Division One athlete. Pre-game routines and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. So we'll start off with the quick hitters. First question is, what is your favorite basketball player?
Favorite basketball player, Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Okay, that's good. I mean, being from the Midwest, that kind of makes sense. How about toughest player you've ever had to guard?
Nika Mule.
Oh, awesome. Nika Mew. She had a pretty good debut I saw with the Seattle
Yeah,
team.
she did.
Most points scored in a game.
College or high school? Like
Just
ever.
any game ever. It could be AAU, high school, college.
I think 37.
37? That's pretty good.
Yes.
Where was that? High school
In
or college?
high school. Yeah.
High school. All right. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Absolutely not. My parents disagree. It's like their favorite pizza, but no.
Yeah, I'm the same. I love pineapple on pizza, and people think that I'm weird, but it is what it is. Have you ever had? I mean, from the Midwest, have you ever had spaghetti pizza?
I have not.
So my wife, her family's from Illinois, and it's like the thing to have out there. When I first went to go visit, they were like, "Oh my God, you got to have this spaghetti pizza." It's literally like a pizza crust, and they put like spaghetti with marinara sauce and some cheese on top of it. It is the most bizarre thing. It's actually not bad, but
Sounds really good though.
yeah. It is very good, but yeah, after like one slice, I was like, I cannot eat another bite of this. Okay, favorite cereal?
Special K.
Special K? Okay, just like regular Special K?
Yeah, or like the one with chocolate in it, one with strawberries in it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool, good
definitely my
stuff.
favorite.
If you could go to dinner with one athlete, who would it be?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Even though he's
Okay.
retired.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, he's still an athlete, greatest of all time. What's your pregame pump up song?
Oh gosh. I don't know if I have one. Honestly, like a big thing for me is like nerves. So I kind of listen to like calming music,
Oh,
which
calling music.
may
Okay.
sound dorky, but yeah, I don't really have
No,
like a
yeah.
pump up. But like if I do, if I'm just like in the car and want to feel good or something, anything by Rihanna for sure.
Okay. Good stuff. Yeah, I like that as far as like the more calming stuff. There's a lot of psychology information about that. Cool.
Yeah,
Pancakes or waffles?
pancakes.
Pancakes, same. And then go to healthy snack.
I would just say a granola bar, like a generic granola bar, because I have such a sweet tooth. So
Mm,
like that's how I kind of like try to do that in a healthy way.
okay, gotcha. And then lastly, Dunks or Starbucks?
Dunks.
Dunks. Okay, cool. What's like your go-to drink at Dunks?
Um, any type of coffee that has caramel in it, caramel drizzled in it, that's it. Like I'll walk
Mm,
in, just like I just want an iced caramel latte. Simple,
nice,
but I love it.
nice. That's usually my wife's go-to, like a cold brew with caramel and cream, I think, is what she gets. It tastes pretty good. It tastes like a
Know
dessert,
that.
but yeah, it tastes like a dessert. Cool. All right, so now we know a little bit about you. It's good stuff. So we'll kind of get into some of the questions that people had asked, specifically around like how you feel yourself as a Division One athlete. Stuff that you eat in a day, transition from high school to playing in college, and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and how you had to change nutrition potentially to kind of keep up with the demands of being a D1 athlete. So I guess we'll start with that, right? Coming out of high school, going into college, like how did you have to, or did you have to, like adjust your nutrition, hydration, like things that you were doing from that standpoint, because of now maybe longer practices or more intense practices, or games like longer season? Talk us through that.
The biggest thing I would definitely say is increasing my water intake because
Mm,
I don't know why I'm super weird. I hate the taste of plain water, which I know sounds awful. It's like, oh my gosh, you're an athlete, you should like water. But like
yeah,
there's
you're not
just something
alone there.
about it. Yeah, I just can't. Like I if it's like I forgot to bring a drink and all there is like the water, like I can drink it, but it's just like I don't like to.
Mm,
So that was like a major thing was like I drink a lot of like body armor, Gatorade, Propel, those type of things. And I still do. But then I also got like this water bottle. It's a circle water bottle. Have you heard of those?
okay, yeah, yeah, with like
That
the
has like
hint
the
of
flavoring
flavor.
in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I actually take that to practice with me sometimes just because I need to get like actual water in. So I
Hmm.
would say that was a big thing for me. I didn't really realize like how dehydrated I was and
Mm,
how much like kind of like whenever you sweat, how much you're losing, I guess. So that was
yep.
a major thing that like me and our nutritionist figured out this year. And then as food, I would say my biggest thing that I kind of like switched right away was I started eating a lot more protein because like especially like in the off season, like well, I guess preseason because whenever I got there, like that summer,
Hmm.
we were weightlifting a lot and like conditioning, like those types of things. And so I would say protein intake was like a huge thing for me because like usually like in high school I just drink a protein shake for breakfast if I like didn't have time to make an actual breakfast or something. But now it's like after a workout I'm drinking a protein shake, like things like that just to get more protein in.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, definitely the protein intake during the off season, super important for, making the progress in the weight room. So that's great.
Yeah.
And you said that you guys do have a nutritionist or a dietitian working with you there?
Yeah, we do.
That's excellent. So when you were talking about the hydration and like finding out that you were dehydrated, was that like hydration testing you guys were doing or like the Gatorade
Yeah,
sweat patches? Like how do they do that?
we did like a sweat test thing that day. So she weighed us before practice and then we went through a whole practice and then weighed us afterwards to see like how much we were really losing. And then there were all sorts of calculations she had us do. I don't remember. I have the paper, but
She
basically
made you
just
do them?
she had us do them. But it was
Oh
like
wow.
simple division type stuff, but like I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what they were. But she had us like figure a lot of it out and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I didn't realize I was losing that much."
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
2 hour practice. So
Wow. So you're a pretty heavy sweater, it seems like.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think that people, yeah, athletes don't pay attention to that a lot. Or they show up to practice, like you were saying, they show up to practice dehydrated already,
Yeah.
and then you're going through a long practice, losing even more fluids. And now it's like by the end of that practice,
You're
you're
dead.
even, yeah, you're
Yeah.
significant. Yeah, you're dead. Yeah. You're significantly dehydrated, and then like trying to replace that day after day. It's like good luck. So
Yeah.
that's awesome that they were able to do that with you all to kind of figure out, individually for you, what does your hydration and fluid loss look like? Because, especially at the level that you're at, generic or very broad, recommendations, it's helpful, but, we can be probably a little bit better just being a Division I athlete.
Yeah.
So
No, Lizzie's great. That's our nutritionist. She's great.
awesome. And you kind of like alluded to my next question. A lot of my athletes that I work with, high school, even college, do not eat breakfast. So it sounds like that's something that's pretty regimented in your routine now. Is it always that way?
No, that's definitely been something I've had to work on too. Like I am not a morning person. So like if I have to get up extra early to make food, like I'm not going to. So
Yeah.
that's been a big thing for me. Like we've talked a lot about it and she'll be like, well, instead of just grabbing a protein shake, try and grab a protein shake and maybe some fruit and yogurt to go with it. Just like things like that. Just like our nutritionist, that's I keep saying she, but we talk about it a lot and she's just like, do what you can. Like just make sure you're getting something in at least at
Hmm.
all times.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
especially like with class, like in between classes sometimes and things, like just making sure that you have something to snack on because we do have a long practice that day. So
Right. Right. Yeah. I think, breakfast can be tricky just depending on practice times or individual workouts or,
yeah.
like I said, your class schedule. So, but it's definitely something that a lot of kids skip out on. And it's like you're already setting yourself up for failure. Like you're putting yourself behind the
Yeah,
eight ball by not giving
definitely
yourself
don't
any
skip.
fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to start the day out, give yourself some fuel. Um, so cool. So yeah, the next question would be, in terms of like going from high school to college, like any kind of particular challenges with like fueling yourself appropriately, like while you're on campus. Like I don't know if you have like, I don't know, is your team catering meals to make it easy for your guys, or you're kind of like trying to navigate the dining halls to, figure out the best options there for you.
I would say at first, whenever I got there in the summer, we like obviously like the dining hall wasn't open since it was just like athletes on campus and things. So then it was kind of hard, like because that was the first time like, oh, I have to make my own food. Like I can't just
Hmm.
eat something from the microwave every day. Like that's not good for me too.
Right, right.
So figuring that out, but our team is great about feeding us after practice. They feed us after practice almost every day. So that's been really good. But then it's like that's only one meal. So then you got to figure out the rest type of thing.
Yeah.
But then I would say once we really got into season two, like we had the dining hall, but you can only eat so much dining hall food, you know? So yeah, I
Yeah,
would
it
say,
gets old quick.
yeah, I feel like you're eating the same things every day. They try to
Right.
mix it up, but it is what it is. It's still dining hall food. So I would just say really like a big thing for me is like I love like Chipotle. Like I feel like
Mm.
everyone's Chipotle, but I'm like
Yeah,
Chipotle.
everyone does. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like that's like decent for me. And like I actually enjoy it. So as
Hmm.
long as it's just like I'm not going to like McDonald's or something like every single
Right.
day. But yeah, I
Yeah.
would say
Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of navigating that, trying to find like a healthier way to eat out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's a common issue. Like you said, like you don't eat so much dining hall food. Different schools have better dining hall food than others. So yeah, you
Yeah.
might find yourself having to go out and get some food, but you can still eat relatively healthy, right? It's not like you have to be super strict, but like Chipotle is a great example. It's like
Yeah.
you can get good carbs and protein, fruits or not fruits, but veggies there, some healthy fats. So you do that as opposed to going to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or whatever. I had a kid when I was at Baylor. He would go, you know what Raising Canes is?
Yes.
He would eat Raising Canes every day before practice.
Before
Like
practice.
before practice. And uh what happened as you would expect, he just would throw up half hour into every practice. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like if you're gonna have that stuff, like at least have it after practice. Like don't have it before practice. So like the
Yeah,
timing
that's
was just off.
crazy.
I'm like, bro, what are you doing? So yeah, we had a lot of work to do with that particular guy, but he eventually cleaned it up. But it's glad to hear that you're making some good choices. So in terms of like nutrition for a game day when you guys travel, like what's your typical kind of like fueling routine, pregame meal routine heading into games?
So both home and away games, they provide meals for us. And usually that's like our nutritionist like kind of tells them what we need to have. And like
Hmm.
at home games, she like literally like they have like they have people, caterers, whoever that brings the food and like she knows what it is every single time. But then I'm
Okay.
not sure for away games, but away games it's like very similar foods every time that we would have at home. So yeah, I mean, I feel like on away games, honestly, like I tell my mom, I'm like, we eat so much, like so much. They're like constantly making sure like we're
Food
getting
everywhere.
fuel, like getting
Yeah.
smoothies sent like an hour after dinner just to make sure that we're like full. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know if I can eat this much. But yeah, no, they're super great about that, making sure that we get the right food in.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, definitely an important part, right? So you got to make sure you're fueled and ready to go for the game, so you have adequate, hydration, fluids, food. So that's good stuff. What's kind of your go-to? I'm sure it might vary a little bit depending on where you're at, if you're at home or on the road at the hotel. But like, what's like a typical pregame meal look like for you?
I usually like pasta a lot
Hmm.
just because I get really nervous before games, like I said before. So like I can't eat a whole lot
Mm.
just because it's just how I am. But if
Yeah.
I can get a few bites in of something that I know is gonna hold me over, or like a lot of the time I'll literally have a peanut butter and jelly. Like our
Okay.
nutritionist gets like we'll have like pasta or like rice and chicken, like that type of stuff. But then she literally gets like salad and like peanut butter and jellies, other stuff that's like easier on the stomach. So I'll usually do a lot of that just because I do get nervous before games.
Sure, yeah, which makes sense. So do you guys, you have like a meal like 3, 4 hours before? Then do you have any kind
Mhm.
of like, I don't know, snack or quick fuel before you go onto the court, like after warm-ups or beforehand, just to kind of prevent you from getting hungry during the game?
I usually don't just because I do get so nervous, but I know a
Hmm.
lot of our girls do. Like we have these like energy beans. They're like basically like jelly beans, but it's like I don't know,
Okay.
healthy or something. They love those. I've never
Yeah.
tried them. But gummies, I have like if I'm like am hungry for some reason, I'll just grab a pack of gummies, something like that.
Okay. And then what
Something
about
that
like
won't
halftime?
be on the
Do you,
stomach.
sure, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then halftime, do you do something similar to like refuel, rehydrate for the second half?
Yeah, just something little if I am hungry. A lot of the time though, like I try to drink just plain water during the game because like at that point I'm so thirsty I'll drink anything. So I try to just drink
Yeah.
plain water. But usually when we come to the locker room, I'll drink Gatorade at halftime.
Okay. Sure. But nothing to eat really. You're more just focused on the rehydrating.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of supplements, any kind of supplements that you use and just for general health or for sports performance?
Not really. I take a lot of like I take vitamin C pills every day just because
Hmm.
I'm like terrified of getting sick during season and it still
Oh,
happens,
sure.
even though I'm
Yeah.
taking vitamin C. But I feel
Right,
like
right.
if I can prevent it as much as possible, I try to. But that's kind of it, really.
Okay.
Unless I'm taking some, I take like daily vitamins, like stuff like that, like
Yeah,
gummy
that counts.
vitamins. I take those, like things like that. But
Yeah,
I don't
multivitamin.
know too much about it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd say, a lot of the athletes that I work with don't really dabble too much in supplements. It's probably similar to like what you're talking about, like a daily multivitamin. Sometimes with like my male athletes will, try creatine or ask about creatine.
Yeah, I've heard of
I
that.
do have a couple of female athletes that I do use that with probiotics and things like that. Obviously protein powders, but a lot of times I find that athletes they tend to be hesitant to incorporate a lot of supplements and would prefer just to get, what they need through food. So okay. So yeah, in terms of all that, it sounds like you have a pretty good routine, like with your eating, pretty regimented. You make those changes. Like, what role or how much of an impact do you feel like nutrition has or has had on you, like being a basketball athlete, especially at this level?
I feel like I definitely never realized how much of an impact it has until I got to college. Like
Mm,
in high school, I kind of just ate whatever I wanted, did whatever I wanted. But then it was like once I found out that how much it did impact it, I was like, oh, so like if I eat better, I can perform better type of thing.
hmm.
So I feel
Yep.
like just kind of learning things like that along the way from our nutritionist, from our strength coach, from everybody, like I just kind of figured, you know what, maybe I should start trying to be a little bit better and see, I mean, what can I have to lose? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So how long did it take from making the changes to where you really noticed the difference? Would you say?
I would say probably, honestly, probably like towards the end of season is whenever I really started to like figure it out. Because I know like there was like a time probably towards the beginning or middle of season where like my class schedule just didn't line up with like a lunch and then sometimes
Hmm.
like because of a class I'd be running late to practice or something, not late but later than I would like to be to
Sure. Yeah.
practice and things, and like I wouldn't fuel myself properly, and like there were times where I was like I cannot ever do that again. Like I
Yeah.
could like feel myself getting lightheaded in practice and I'm like this is why you have to eat before, like that type of
Hmm.
thing. I did kind of go through that little phase and then I was like, okay, like you just need to at least make sure you're getting something small in. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that was like a big turning point. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think that's a turning point for a lot of people. It's like, oh, I feel like shit at practice, like lightheaded or dizzy, or it's like practice is just kicking your ass. It's like, oh my God, like, yeah, I need to start eating something.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so many athletes, it seems like, don't like to eat anything before practice. It's like you got to try to find a way. There's so many options out there. Like find a way to get some fuel in to give your body some juice and not just, a lot of times it's a coffee or energy drink that's replacing actual fuel.
Oh,
So
you
it's like,
gotta
yeah,
have
that's
something with coffee or an energy drink. Yeah.
yeah, it's like you need some actual energy. Like the stimulant's great, but it's not gonna,
It's gonna
fuel
wear
your
off
muscle much.
too.
Yeah, yeah, it wears off really quick. So like making those changes, like knowing that anything that you do differently or things that you're really working on nutrition wise, hydration wise, for this year too.
I would say the biggest thing I'm focusing on is getting more vegetables and more fruits because like living in a dorm, I feel like it's hard to you don't want to like buy fruits and vegetables because like you're not gonna eat everything, which like kind
Right.
of like makes me mad because I'm like I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
it. I might eat half of it and then I'm gonna have to throw it away.
Yeah.
But I like it really is an important part of your diet, and so I think that that's something that I'm really trying to work on, especially while I'm at home and my mom's paying for my groceries. Like I'm like, give me all
Yeah.
the veggies, all the fruits. Like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
start getting this now. So I feel like yeah, that's a big thing I'm trying to work on.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And obviously at home gives you some time to experiment with different recipes or preparation methods, I'm sure that you can then incorporate when you go back to
Oh
school.
yeah, I've got to
So
learn how to cook.
yeah, well, yeah, this is definitely the time to do it, right? You have probably more free time, I guess, before you got to go back, more free time on your hands. And so good stuff. Awesome. And then I guess just last question, any, advice or recommendations for our athletes at home? Like, we have a lot of high school athletes, either, just getting into high school or those who are aspiring to play at the college level, or even some, kids who are going into college this upcoming year. Like any advice or recommendations for those folks?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say like general advice.
Yeah, it could be nutrition advice or just any life advice, whatever.
Yeah, I would just say like general advice, like there's going to be ups and downs in all types of sports and like you just got to keep going. You love the sport for a reason. And if you really do want to take it far, you can, but you have to be willing to put the work in. I know that sounds really like cliche, but I've just like really figured that out. Like if you're serious about it, like there's going to be sacrifices and things like that. And then nutritionally, I would say like I wish I would have started like really looking into it a lot earlier.
Yeah,
Because it really does benefit you so much more than you realize. I feel like because as an athlete, I feel like a lot of the time like we're just focused on performance, like working out, things like that. But there's like all types of little things that you can do along the way that will benefit you that like you don't even realize. So I like if
definitely.
you
Yeah,
can realize that sooner, the sooner the better.
yeah, for sure. I think that's great advice on both fronts, right? It's like regarding the work, it always that like what you said reminds me of that meme that I always see on like Instagram where it's like people who want to be great and there's like a huge line like leading up to the dude at the stand and it's like the other dude at the stand says like the work that's required to be great or doing the work that's required to be great and there's like two people there. Like everyone talks about, I want to do this, but then when it actually comes down to putting in the work to be that level or to get to that level, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play video games or whatever, do something else and not put the work in. And then yeah, from the nutrition standpoint, yeah, I think the earlier the better. That's great advice. It's like start working on it now. That way, by the time you get to the college level where you're at, it's like you already have those habits and routines in place and you're probably that much further ahead than kids that you're competing with for minutes on your own team, and then certainly going to put you ahead for a lot of the competition that you're going to be going up against throughout the course of the season. So that's good
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck in year two. We'll definitely be following along to see how you guys do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome.